All right, let's talk about something that's, honestly, a game changer for anyone building, well, anything digital. It's called user flow mapping, and we're going to see how it's the secret to going from total chaos to, well, crystal clarity.
Okay, let me ask you something, and be honest. Have you ever poured your heart and soul into building something you thought was absolutely beautiful, only to watch someone get completely, hopelessly lost trying to figure it out? Yeah, it's painful, right?
It's such a classic problem, and it stings every time. And the root cause is almost always the same thing. We get so focused, so in love with designing these perfect individual screens that we totally forget about the most crucial part, the actual journey between those screens.
So yeah, this is a really common trap to fall into. We're talking about getting lost in the prototype.
I love this metaphor. Think of each screen as a beautiful little island. It might look amazing, but if there are no bridges connecting them, what have you really built? You've just created a bunch of disconnected islands, and your users? They're just stranded with no idea where to go next. Super frustrating for them.
So how do we build those bridges? Well, that's where the solution comes in. It's all about mapping the user's journey.
Okay, so what is user flow mapping really? In the simplest terms, it's just figuring out and drawing out the exact sequence of steps someone needs to take to get something done. Think of it like a blueprint, or maybe a treasure map for their journey from point A to point B.
Let's make this super concrete. We've all done this a million times, right? Online shopping. You land on the homepage. Then what? You search for something. You find it, you add it to your cart, and then you check out. See that? Each step just flows into the next. That's a user flow right there.
And that little example shows something huge. This is way more than just drawing boxes and arrows. It's a totally different way of thinking. It's about thinking in flows, not screens.
And this really gets to the heart of the difference, right? On one hand, you have the old way, designing screens. You're just focused on how one thing looks in isolation, and that leads to that choppy, fragmented feeling. But on the other hand, when you're mapping flows, you're forced to think about what the user is trying to do, their intention. And that is how you create a smooth, seamless journey that actually makes sense.
This whole mindset really makes you focus on, quote, how one screen connects to the next and what guidance users need at each stage. That's the key, isn't it? You're not just reacting, you're anticipating what the user needs next and building the path for them before they even know they need it.
Okay, so what's the payoff? What do you actually get from this shift in thinking? Well, you get some pretty incredible, tangible results. It's all about the power of planning.
Look, by mapping this stuff out early, you find the problems when they're just ideas on a whiteboard, when they're cheap and easy to fix, right? You can see the bottlenecks where people are going to get stuck. You can spot the steps that are just plain confusing. You'll find the missing links, those dead ends, and you can get rid of all that extra complexity before anyone even thinks about writing code.
And here's the crazy part. All of that proactive problem solving, all of it, comes from creating just one single clear flow map. That map becomes your foundation. It's the source of truth for the entire journey you're trying to build.
But hold on, the map isn't a one-and-done kind of thing. Its job isn't over once the design is drafted. No way. It actually becomes your most important tool for making things better. It's your guide to refining.
Think about it like this. When you get to the point where real people are testing your stuff, usability testing, that flow map is your cheat sheet. It's the plan of what should be happening so you can hold it up right next to what's actually happening and see exactly where things are going wrong.
And this sets up this awesome feedback loop, right? You test with users, you watch where they get confused or go off track, where what they do is different from your map. Then you go back to the map to see exactly where the problem is. And then you can make a super targeted fix. Adjust a screen, change some navigation, whatever it takes. Then you test it all over again. Simple, but so powerful.
And the impact of doing this? It's huge. I mean, we're talking a direct line to happier users who can actually get things done. It makes the whole development process more efficient, and what you end up with is a product that just feels coherent. It just makes sense.
Because at the end of the day, that's the whole point, isn't it? A great user flow is like magic. It takes a random collection of screens and turns them into a story, a success story for your user, where they don't just stumble to the finish line, they get there easily and feel good about it.
So that really just leaves one last question for you to think about on your next project. And I want you to be really honest with yourself. Are you just building a bunch of pretty destinations, or are you actually mapping out the perfect journey to get there?